Install O-rings onto the valve core. Apply a thin film of valve lube, making sure that the valve lube doesn't clog the holes on the valve core. Insert the valve core into the gas head assembly, making sure that the air holes are properly aligned. Insert the detent pin and spring into the gas body head. Attach the valve handle to the valve core. Align the hole in the handle with the hole in the valve core. Attach the handle with small slotted screw. Rotate the handle to an upright position perpendicular to the gas head to assure all holes are in proper alignment. Place O-rings on the plungers, one air and one each for oxygen and fuel, and apply a small coat of valve lube. Place Teflon air plunger seal in the gas head body, making sure the O-ring is properly seated against the valve core assembly. Insert Viton O-ring seals into the oxygen and fuel holes of the gas head body, also making sure the O-rings are properly seated against the valve core assembly. Insert the air plunger into the gas body head, aligning plunger groove with the pin on the back of the gas body head. Repeat this step with oxygen and fuel plungers. Insert oxygen and fuel springs over their plungers as shown. Coat seals on the hose connection block with valve lube. Take note of the valve core stop screw. It is longer than the hose connection block screw, which is inserted on the opposite side of the handle on the gas head assembly. First place the valve core stop screw and hose connection block screw into the respective holes in the hose connection block. Insert air spring into the connection block. Align the hose connection block with the body and attach by alternately tightening of the screws as shown. Inspect to assure that there is no gap between the gas head body and the hose connection assembly. Place O-ring seals large and small on the nozzle, then coat with a small amount of valve lube. Insert nozzle into siphon plug assembly. Place 4 O-ring seals on siphon plug assembly and coat with a small amount of valve lube. Screw nozzle nut onto the assembly, hand tighten only. Place oil seal assembly onto the turbine shaft by first sliding the washer, then one sleeve, then one bobbin with O-ring cup side facing up, then install bobbin spring and bobbin with cup side facing down, then a washer over the shaft. Firmly hold assembly together on the shaft and insert the turbine shaft with the oil seal assembly into the turbine assembly, aligning set screw holes, then tighten with 2 mm Allen key. Align brake disc ears with the turbine assembly receptors and slide onto the shaft. Install brake disc return springs and washer with the cup side of the washer down and over the spring on the end of the shaft. Install right side ball bearing, finger spring with fingers down. Install turbine shaft bearing nut and tighten firmly. Apply a small amount of gear lube oil on the assembly O-ring. Install gear cover gasket and attach the gear cover. Tighten with 4 slotted screws. Install O-ring seal on the rear bearing retainer and apply a coating of valve lube. Install counter shaft into counter shaft gear, aligning set screw with counter shaft. Tighten set screw with 2 mm Allen key. Insert counter shaft into bearing retainer, then install counter shaft nut and tighten firmly. Apply a small amount of gear lube oil to bearing surface. Place O-ring on retainer plug. Apply a small amount of valve lube over seal. Insert bearing retainer plug into the bearing retainer. Tighten firmly using slotted screwdriver. Install countershaft assembly into gearbox assembly. Tighten firmly. Install bearing nuts 1 and 2. Tighten firmly. Make sure the turbine spins freely. Install bearing cover gasket. Place bearing follower sub-assembly on right side bearing as shown. Place bearing cover over assembly and tighten with 2 slotted screws. Place spider assembly into turbine cover with brake pad facing up. Install control ring by turning clockwise until spider assembly is threaded into control ring. Care should be taken not to cross-thread these components. Place detent spring onto turbine assembly, aligning the 3 mounting holes. Place ring nameplate over detent spring and fasten with nameplate slotted screws. Place turbine speed control firmly against main body housing, aligning 3 mounting holes and fasten with 3 slotted screws. Apply a small amount of gear lube onto the turbine bearing. Install grease plug screw. Assure that the control ring assembly spins freely and has a ratchet clicking effect when assembled. Apply and install handle assembly as shown. Install gashead assembly to main body and tighten 2 slotted screws in the front and 1 in the rear. Insert the siphon plug assembly, making sure that the flange is pressed tight to the gashead, aligning gashead pins with slots on siphon plug flange. Install air cap and body. Insert snubber assembly into the rear of main body. Tighten with 2 mm Allen wrench. Install O-ring over pushrod assembly and apply a small amount of valve lube. Insert pushrod assembly into the upper support block aligning groove with alignment pin, leaving enough room to install cam assembly. The cam assembly is positioned behind the cam follower. Rotate cam assembly lever to ensure proper movement of push rod. Place a generous amount of valve lube on the upper support block spring. Insert spring into upper support block and tighten spring cap hand tight. Do not over tighten. Fasten upper support block assembly to main body with 3 3mm hex screws. Install upper drive roll assembly to upper support block with drive roll carrier pin. Remove oil side plug located in the rear of the gun below snubber assembly. Fill gearbox with 1 bottle of gear lube and replace the plug. When inspecting lube through the sight plug, the gear lube level should fill the sight window halfway.